Happy Tuesday, Wildcat fans, and thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. We have a lot to get to this show. The show is brought to you by Birddogs, but we're also going to talk about the Wildcats. Let's get started here on Locked On Wildcats.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, we got a lot to get to this show, but we are going to talk first and foremost about some of the individual stars of this game right here, because there were a lot of guys that stood out. First and foremost, though, let's talk a little bit about Michael Wiley. Michael Wiley, in my opinion, was the player of the game for the U of A. I thought he was fantastic out there. Not only do I think he was fantastic, I thought that the way that he was able to navigate traffic, the way that he was able to catch the ball out of the backfield, and not only catch the ball out of the backfield, but be able to make plays out of the backfield, I thought was very, very impressive. Not only was it impressive, I think that that this is going to kind of be your bell cow, for lack of a better term. He's going to be the player that is going to put you in the positions to be able to succeed, and Arizona needs somebody like that. Not only does Arizona need somebody like that, Arizona needs a guy who can do quite frankly, that. I do think that he's going to be I do think that he's going to be a player that is going to be able to, make some plays out of the backfield, but he's also going to be sharing some time because you got Jonah Coleman, you already got DJ Williams, Rayshon, Speedy Luke Pham, etc. But that doesn't mean that he's not going to, be involved to a great degree. He is going to be involved. But he right now, I think you could make the case, is maybe the most well-rounded player on the team, question mark. Not sure if I'm right on that, but I'm also not sure if I'm wrong on that, though, either. But again, very good football player, as you all know. You can watch him for 5 seconds and tell that this dude's got the goods. With him, though, I think the one thing, though, it's also intriguing is what is that next level for him? Can he play in the NFL? And I think that Arizona certainly wants to be able to accentuate his strengths because, again, he has many strengths out there. But what are those exactly? And I think that's what we got to find out. Where is that coming from? Because, again, you don't want to overuse a player. I totally get all of that. But I do also understand, though, at the same point, though, that let's be honest here. This is an Arizona team that needs his veteran leadership, and not only does it need his veteran leadership, it needs his ability to be able to, let's just be honest here, make some plays out there, and I think that he can do that. Now, can he be that guy that breaks a lot of long runs? I think the one thing about him, though, is that Arizona's kind of at the point now where, I think it's fair to say that you got enough depth, you got enough talent to be able to make plays, to be able to have players make plays all over the field, and I think Arizona is going to be able to do just that. I'm excited. I think that Arizona can do just that, quite frankly. But we are going to find out where exactly that is. But Michael Wiley, I thought, was fantastic. Up front, the offensive line, led by the two tackles, obviously, in Jonas Sabanea and Jordan Morgan, they were both great as well. There was a lot to like about both guys' performances. But I think that's going to be kind of an underlying theme pretty much all season, that you're going to like what the Arizona offensive line is able to bring to the table. And again, not really sure that I'm breaking any news right there, but this should be a pretty good offensive line, and I think it should be a pretty good offensive line all season long for the Wildcats. And up there, I loved seeing Kean Burnett get involved. We talked about it before. Kean Burnett's one of the most talented players on the team at that tight end position. He's going to be the starter next year after Tanner McLaughlin moves on, but Kean can play. We know that. Kean can definitely play. And not only can Kean play, Kean can I think Kean's got NFL potential. And when you got a player like him, who is a big dude to begin with, we already know. I mean, he is a massive individual, and he can move really, really well. And not only can he move really, really well out there, he can make a variety of plays that a lot of dudes just can't really make. I mean, it's really that simple right there. And there's a reason that he was committed to USC. Obviously, his father, Big Chester Burnett, one of the best players to come through the U of A on that defensive line. So he comes from good bloodlines. But again, loved seeing Kean get in the action, loved seeing Kean get a catch or two, because I think you're going to continue to see more of that as the season goes on. And again, I'm going to keep saying it, T-Mac, if there's a way to be forgotten as a 5-star, T-Mac has been forgotten as a 5-star. T-Mac is great, and I think, again, he's another player that people have just kind of forgotten about for whatever reason, and I don't quite understand it, mainly because, again, you're a 6'4" wide receiver out of Servite High School, 5-star wide receiver. Generally, dudes like that, they kind of stand out to a certain extent. They kind of stand out, and when they put up the numbers that he did, and you're a freshman All-American, you really stand out, and that hasn't exactly been the case for T-Mac as far as being that nationally relevant player, but I think you're also going to see him become a nationally relevant player here at some point, and I think that point is this year. Not only is that the case, you're also going to see a team that has a quarterback that I think can get the ball to the wide receiver. But the one thing, again, you got to continue to keep in mind is that this is a squad that you've got a lot of talent across the board, whether that's T-Mac, whether that's Jacob Cowing. These are guys that are going to play in the NFL. Montana Lamonius Craig. You got Kevin Green. A lot of different dudes out there, but T-Mac is the one that just feels kind of a little bit different. And again, he's a 5-star kid for a reason. He showed it. I think that he's going to have 13 or 14 touchdowns this year. Not only that, I think he's going to be very, very good in the process. Big fan of what he can offer for the U of A Wildcats. Now, what does that mean then for Jacob Cowing? Jacob Cowing's just got to stay healthy. If Jacob Cowing stays healthy, he's going to be one of the best wide receivers in the country. I mean, he was a preseason second team All-American for a reason. Those guys just don't, they don't just come to the U of A all the time. And he obviously did. He was great last year when he wasn't hurt. He led the nation in yards after catch. And again, another dude that just looked really, really good in the process, making plays happen. I think you got to be really, really excited about the possibilities that he brings to the table. He just got to stay healthy, and if he stays healthy, he's going to be very, very good. Now, one thing you don't need to worry about staying very, very good is Birddogs. All right, Birddogs. Let's pull this up right here. I have a pair of Birddog shorts, and I think that they look actually pretty cool. Not only do these Birddogs shorts make me look cool, go to birddogs.com/LockedOnCollege. Check it out. And here's the great thing about it. You get a free tumbler with every purchase. My mother has one of these free tumblers right there. And again, check it out. Birddogs, you will be happy that you did. Birddogs has a lot of really, really good stuff going on, and it can make uncool people like myself look borderline okay, acceptable. Birddogs.com/LockedOnCollege. Check it out. All right, we'll be right back with you. We're going to continue to talk about what the win means for Arizona. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. What does this win mean for the University of Arizona? And it means a couple different things. First and foremost, you get to exercise some demons. I know I sound like a broken record right there. I don't care. You've got to be able to, when push comes to shove, you've got to be able to beat the bad teams that you play, and you got to be able to make it look good in the process. And Arizona was able to do just that. They were able to make it look good in the process, or not good in the process, but it didn't matter. It was 38-3. And I think that's where Arizona fans should be excited. Not only should they be excited about it, I think that they should be in the position to, I think Arizona is pretty much at the point where, you should be able to beat these teams, and you should be able to beat bad teams easily. Now, it's going to be interesting in the Pac because the Pac's got a lot more talent this year than it did. And not only that, Arizona has a lot of Arizona's got a lot of just players across the board. There's not a position where NAU is more talented than Arizona, and that's not something that you could say just a few years ago. Believe it or not, as weird as that is to say. And I think a reason why is because Jed Fish said that he was going to start recruiting at a higher level, and he's done just that. But the win just essentially showed that Arizona has come a long way in a couple of years. And not only has it come a long way in a couple of years, it has come, to the point where it's safe to say that Arizona is in pretty good standing right now, I think, in the grand scheme of things. And that big reason why is Jed Fish. Like I said, Jed Fish said that he was going to increase the talent level here, and he's done just that. And, it's been a year since you played NAU. You were able to exercise those demons, so that was good. And then defensively, we're going to talk about Johnny Nansen. But the other thing, too, that just really, really matters in spots like this is they just look more talented. They just look bigger. They're more talented across the board. And that means something. It just really does. There's really no other way to put that one. It's just a bigger, more physical, athletic team. Look at all the positions. I mean, just look at on the offense. I mean, big Raymond Polito didn't even play, but you had Jordan Morgan at 6'6", 315. You got Jonas Avenea at 6'4", 330. You got big Wendell Moe, 6'2", 305. Josh Baker, 6'2", 280. And then obviously you had Sam Lange in there, kind of your swing reserve, but also Raymond Polito, when he's in there, he's going to be ready to rock and roll as well. The team is just bigger. And then, I mean, you look at a player like a T-Mac. T-Mac is he's a huge player now. He looks like a linebacker. And last year, he obviously did not look like a linebacker. And he's faster now. I think T.O. has talked about how he needed T-Mac to continue to get faster to be able to get that top end speed up while continuing to put on muscle. And he did just that. Again, the kid's good. And not only is the kid good, the kid's in really good hands right now. I'm excited to see where this all ends up, because Arizona football is in good position right here to be able to continue to make some plays. And not only do I think they continue to make some plays, I think that they're going to be able to I think they're going to surprise some people. Now, again, it might be a little bit different because Arizona still is not you're not the most talented team in the world, but you're also a team that kind of is the ability of, just to continue to improve that depth on the ball, on that side of the ball. But that's the one thing that has definitely happened with NAU, is that in that NAU game, you are able to just show that you got more talent. And a lot of that talent starts on the defensive side of the ball. Let's be honest here. Johnny Nansen, there's a lot of questions about what kind of coach Johnny Nansen is. At what level is he going to be able to recruit, all of that stuff. The one thing I think it's fair to say with Johnny Nansen, though, is that he's a motivated dude and he's got more to work with this year. Now, a lot of times it's weird to say you've got more to work with when you lose a player like a Hunter Echols or a Jalen Harris, who, almost both made the NFL, but the team is just bigger across the board. And not only is it bigger across the board, it is a squad that, you just look at them. A look on that defensive line right there. And the one thing is they're just bigger. And again, some of these guys haven't had a ton of college success. But again, when you're a 4-star kid at Georgia, sometimes it's going to be a little bit different right there. And, that's not the end of the world. Sometimes you're going to be a guy that, just takes a little bit more time, or just needs to be in a different setting. Because let's be honest, I mean, Georgia football is a little bit different animal than U of A football. Again, not really breaking any news on that one right there, but it's just a different animal entirely. And Big Bill Norton showed that he is going to be that dude. As long as he can stay healthy, this is exactly what Arizona needed. I think there were a lot of questions about, Big Bill Norton, what exactly he would be able to do. Could he take up blocking? Could he take up units? All of that stuff. And right now, he's been able to do that. And not only has he been able to do that, he has been able to keep players off the linebackers and then get to that point. And that's what you need. Again, if you can have those guys, it makes Johnny Nansen's life a lot easier. Last year, Arizona didn't have that. And not only did last year Arizona not have that, the big thing about it was that Arizona was at the stage where you knew the dudes were not going to be big enough, and you were going to have to scheme to get around it. Now you got guys that can keep players off of Jacob Manu, who can keep players off of Dalton Johnson and the safeties and allow them to make plays. So again, we're going to find out more about exactly where Arizona is with these players because, again, there is every opportunity, there's every reason to believe that Arizona should be significantly better on defense. Now, again, I don't need you to be Utah. I don't need you to be that type of dude or type of team, but just be somewhere around 8th in the conference. And if you're 8th in the conference, Arizona is going to win a lot of games this year because the offense is going to put up points. We're going to talk about that a little bit tomorrow. But this was also, like I said, this was a nice performance by the defense. You only gave up 3 points. Now, granted, the ball was moved at times on the ground, but at the end of the day, you kept them out of the end zone. You only gave up 3 points, and more importantly, it never felt like NAU really sustained anything. When NAU beat Arizona a couple years ago, well, they were able to sustain drives. They were able to sustain things. You don't like seeing that if you're the U of A or if you're a backer of the A right there. Now, we've been telling you from day one, get in on FanDuel and bet on Arizona to be able or to go over 5 wins. I feel very, very comfortable that Arizona is going to win more than 5 games. Yes, I know that the Pac-12 is absolutely loaded. I understand all of that. But FanDuel.com/LockedOnCollege is here for you to be able to make the easy move right here and pick Arizona with the over. And even if you say, I don't want to bet on anything Mike Luke has to say, fine, I don't blame you. I probably wouldn't bet on me either. But I would also still go to FanDuel because you know what? It makes life more interesting. Everybody knows when you got a little bit of action, when you got a little bit of skin in the game, it becomes a little bit more appetizing right there. FanDuel.com/LockedOnCollege. You know your money's good with them. Check it out. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk about what this defensive staff with Nance and with Dwayne Aquina really means. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, we're running through the gauntlet right now of Arizona football on the defensive side because, again, we're used to seeing some bad Arizona football teams. And not only that, we're used to seeing some bad defenses that looked overmatched. We did not see that against NAU. We're going to start previewing Mississippi State tomorrow and what this means. But overall, good stuff out there. Arizona just looked bigger. Again, you didn't see a ton of dynamic splash plays. I get all that. But you saw a unit, you saw a team that I think understood that you need to, for lack of a better term, you got to be able to make some plays out there. And Arizona did just that. Honestly, they were just bigger up front. And that's a testament to Jedd Fisch. Listen, if you're not going to get those 5-star defensive tackles out of the South, which you're probably not going to get because you're Arizona, the best thing that you can do then is try to get those players that are maybe your backups at Georgia, whatever the case may be, because a backup at Georgia does not mean that they can't be an all-conference performer and on another team. And I think we talked about that with Bill Norton. Tyler Manoa, I think, is somewhat of the same way. And then Isaiah Ward is a thing. Isaiah Ward at pass rusher is going to be – I think he's going to be very good this year. And not only that, I think that he's going to be I think he is a guy that, let's be honest here, is maybe an all-conference player down the road. Not this year, and not only this year, but for the foreseeable future. Again, he's still a thin dude. He's about 6'5", 225, but you understood why colleges recruited him, why he was rated the way that he was, because there's a lot to be intrigued by with him. And not only is there a lot to be intrigued by with him, you watch him and say that, man, that's kind of the epitome of what Jedd Fisch is looking for in a player. And I think you're going to continue to see that. But again, just good stuff, good vibes. We're going to start breaking down Arizona, Mississippi State, because that's going to be the game that will really put people on notice. If Arizona beats Mississippi State, then we are in an entirely different trajectory at that point. And then it becomes very, very fascinating, because last year Arizona was in the game, but it never really felt like they were in the game. Jaden DeLora, I think Jaden DeLora's got to play a little bit better, but Arizona's got the horses to be able to, in my opinion, win this game. Not saying they will win this game, but Arizona's got the horses to be able to make this one happen, I believe. And we're going to find out exactly where we're at with that. But like I said, we're going to break down Mississippi State a lot more. New coach, obviously. Arizona, what they need to be able to do as well. But it's also nice to be able to talk about what Arizona needs to be able to do because, well, in the past, a lot of times we've gone into these games saying, yep, well, we got no chance in this game. It's nice being in a different position on this one as such. But as always, thanks for a ton for making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. We're in game-by-game mode right now. Arizona's 1-0 on the season. Hit that FanDuel over a 5 if you still can. Just saying. But have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we will be back with you tomorrow. Back the A, and as always, thanks for making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day.